Well, let's see. I didn't mean to put anything up today. I'm having problems with my hands. I've been doing videos and for quite a while now. But I can't dismiss this. For those who have followed me on Facebook and YouTube, I was in Atlanta doing a book on mind control, and it was the Tesla files, and how you can cure an illness or create an illness, and programming persons to murder. They call it the Manchurian Candidate, which would lead you to think that this person is bad that was programmed. And that's not true. The person does not know they've been programmed. If they did know and they went, where are you going to go with it? Say, hey, you should deprogram me or something like that. Well, they'd take you off to the mental and treat you for a non-existent illness. And like James Holmes, the Aurora, Colorado, can you imagine? And no, most people just let it fly right on by, unless it affects them, just like the FBI agent said in Atlanta. He pretended to yawn and he said, you bore them with what you're saying. It's not until it affects them that they care. Well, that's not really caring. Anyway, James Holmes was programmed to kill the people at the Grand Theater in Aurora, Colorado. And the theater bit connection also connects with up here in Charlottesville, Livingston. I forgot exactly where they found her car parked, Alexis Murphy. That's one that happened just a few years back. I think 2014 maybe, or 13. I can't remember now. Uh, it was when around the first time I started doing YouTube. I guess, I don't know. Maybe before. Um, anyway, her car was found parked, and they never mentioned anything about that just in front of a movie theater. And the view, well, anyway, I'll leave it at that because there was a man that's in prison now for her murder, and they don't have a body. But you can prove some of these, which I put up yesterday. Well, no, I didn't either. I was talking to somebody. I put it up before, though. There's some that happened right here in this Roanoke area, and that's in this area, the Murphy is. But he's in prison for life now. And there's no body, or I'm trying to see what's on now. Anyway, before I lose track of what I was going to say, I've been putting all this up in just about every civil rights, every crime has been done to me, seriously, and my children. And I was kidnapped, and my name's Margaret Ann Windsor, and I have to use the name Peggy Ann Dempsey Childers. I married Childers. I keep putting that up, or you wouldn't know where I'm coming from on it. For those people that may just have caught on to my videos. I have to, they talk about civil rights. I'm watching here, this is Fox, I guess. No, yeah, Fox, I believe, because I couldn't take two of the people, these people who are getting paid to tell the truth. At least we all hope that, and they aren't. They haven't told any of this. They're not telling any of the truth. I can't take a few of them up there that are drawing these paychecks and spitting out their vermin, really, is what they're doing. Like they know that it is beyond me. I tell you who I like. The girl that's coming out now, Sarah, who's the White House spokesman for President Trump. She's good. She's got it together. And she's not vicious and telling lies like these others. And yes, they are telling lies. And yes, I do know. And if I were ever live to get up there and tell the truth, and I hear people out, I don't know if they can hear me through the door out there. I think they can, but I wouldn't want to disturb anybody because they don't like what I'm saying about my being kidnapped. Well, hey, that's okay. You're British. My mom's an American. It's who my dad is, and the fact who all was in on my kidnapping, like JFK, Rockefellers, Rothschilds, Bilderbergers, and Roosevelt, another Jew, sent Joe Kennedy in 36 as U.S. ambassador to England to control my father. My father wouldn't go along with them, take their orders. And look what they did to him. He married Claudia Ruth O'Keefe from here, from Madison, Wisconsin. Beautiful lady, school teacher, sister to artist Georgia O'Keefe. You wouldn't know my mom if I didn't mention Georgia O'Keefe, my aunt. Beautiful lady. And so was my mom. Now I'm going to lose my train of thought a bit. It really bothers me. I should turn that TV off too. It distracts me. But my father never married Wallace Simpson. I keep saying that. And with people coming back on video, I don't even watch it anymore, other videos. I never did watch anything on mind control. Mine came from what I knew when I was doing the book and what I tell about programming people. And they're blaming mental health, which has nothing to do with it. I can remember being in the Buddy Darden ran against me in the campaign when I was out at Mr. Flint's, who had been shot by a program shooter. And this is years later. I lived. It was a horrible life, but I lived and was flown out to his home. And I'm wandering away now from what I was trying to say. Anyway, skip it. Let me go back to what. There's no need going on. I started to get some things out that I still have to show, and I'm getting distracted. And yeah, you won't. Maybe you can follow me enough. But anyway, they're talking about civil rights. And now then there was a young man, and somebody's going to get mad at me. This is what happens when you tell the truth, and that's exactly what I've done. They get mad at me then. Well, on this one, this young, he's a TV program, he's on Empire something. He's a black man, and young fella. Well, to me, he's a young fella. And I guess he's, well, I don't know. I don't want to put this up there. I think, though, that he's, what am I supposed to say so I don't offend anybody when that's all that's ever happened to me? Offend doesn't even touch it. Is he gay? Okay. And what happened to him, I do not agree with, supposedly, and I believe it. Why wouldn't I? They did some horrible things to him recently. And they were talking about the Oscars, and it's all over about Hollywood supporting him. And now in Atlanta, where so much was done to me, hey, how about Alabama, and while they're having civil rights in Selma, and I'm kidnapped and brought over here, and every crime in the book being done to me. Martin Luther King, which God in heaven. Okay, now I remember what I'm going to say or not going to say. Anyway, in Selma, Alabama, in about 1957, okay, is when that all happened. Martin Luther King partnered with JFK, who helped kidnap me and bring me to that hellhole pigsty in Moulton, Alabama, and then had the gall to send JFK Jr. up to Appalachian Trail, where I had starved and frozen, and that's disregarding what happened before and what's still going on, and tell me and laugh in my face, we came down here just to see how we made you live, and walked off with his backpack full of food, which he had put down on the table in front of me, and he knew very well that I had starved and frozen. That was what he was talking about. Now I'm going to lose it, my frame of reference. Anyway, JFK and Martin Luther King, your great civil rights leaders, see, they do not want any of this told. He partnered with JFK. Martin Luther King always knew about me, the part, and Reverend Andrew Young, and I think he's still alive. Jimmy Carter, who I thought And maybe he was. Maybe it was just too much. They overpowered him when he became president. He appointed Andrew Young, who was with Martin Luther King when he was shot in Memphis, okay, by a programmed shooter. The guy was programmed, and I'm not even sure now. Well, I could go into another area. Something happened from Huntsville the day that there was something about this guy that's supposed to have shot Martin Luther King, the rifle, and I can't remember, so I shouldn't even get trying to tell that. They sent a guy up there on Full Heart Knob where I was at, and I'll have to go back and try. I don't know how I can find out. I can remember that, but I'll go back into that later. Anyway, Martin Luther King and Andrew Young were in on. I always knew about me. The whole plot was to take down the British Empire, to form the global government, which, where's the global government? The Illuminati sitting up right in New York under the guise of United Nations. Where are all these civil rights people that this has happened to me, that they don't want told? No one does. And the fact that the global government, Martin Luther King, Kennedy, Illuminati, all this control the United Nations. They formed the United Nations, and that's Rockefeller headquarters up there in New York, right in your face. You turn on the news and NBC, etc., and it says Rockefeller Plaza, Rockefeller this, Rockefeller that. Freedom of speech. Now, the one thing that got me too was how they're going after Donald Trump. I don't think this is a good cop, bad cop scenario. I honestly think, I hope Donald Trump's the good guy, and it is so much a lie what they're doing to this man. And the fact they're being allowed to do it, somebody's got to walk in, handcuff this lying bunch of press, and you can't dig them out of the grave, but at least you could stop it. Somehow, if you women got up, that have gotten up and protested, that never helped me. Nobody's ever mentioned this except when I was flown out Mr. Flint's and was in the campaign. They have not told about me. I don't wonder if the lies, if it's loud, if they did, unless I get up there and the right people get up there and they're forced to hear the truth. So don't tell me about civil rights. Now then, back to Atlanta, where I was doing the book. Larry Flint was shot in Lawrenceville in 78, and God help what was done to me there. It has to be told, I hope, right in people's face. Smack them in the face with it. I begged for help. My children were, I don't know, all the horrible that I haven't even told on here. Now then, I'm going to connect this. My civil rights, I have never had any. Neither did my children. Now you're going to go from out in Hollywood, where all these Hollywood stars are up there taking up for this young man, and I did not once say that that was right, what they did to him. It's not right what they've done to me either, whether you're black, white, or whatever, purple, pink, blue. Anyway, down there, the Super Bowl's down there. Remember, that's where the Olympic Park, and where they put Eric Rudolph in prison for a crime he didn't commit, just like Richard Jewell was accused of it, and later the charges were dropped because he didn't. Eric Rudolph was programmed. Now then, back to the Super Bowl. They've got, I didn't happen to think about that because a lot happened, and I put it up about Eric Rudolph living on the trail, living in holy hell, and then now then he's in prison for life. Now then, there's graffiti. Well, oh geez, see, they'll get mad at me with all that's been done if I say graffiti. Well, I'm going to go ahead and say graffiti. It's up on the walls down there, and it's talking, they're promoting, and so is the governor or whoever that was made a speech for Atlanta and Georgia, how civil rights and the black movement and all this has been so helpful, and it's also good in all this civil rights. Anyway, they've got pictures that are are up on the buildings and things down there, depicting about the blacks and all this. This is where I can't. This is horrible. No wonder nobody wants it told. There's a few. I don't mean you get the gist when I say that. My God, every right, every torture. They talk about Guantanamo Bay and waterboarding. They did mine every day of my life into my children. Crimes that affect us forever if they stopped back then. Waterboarding was nothing. I'm not going to say that waterboarding is not nice. And by the way, uh, I'll never be able to tell all this in front of the world and make them see the horror and the lies and the cold-bloodedness of all this. When you're talking about drugs coming into this country via over, through Guantanamo Bay down there, Cuba, the radars were jammed and all that. I better quit now. Enough people want me dead, I guess. But I sure wish that someone in high power could allow me to get up there and tell it and see who's standing now. Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumer, and all these rats, rug rats and all this are up there in Congress who've known all this. How about Coast to Coast last night? Some of this I could tell you, but I won't. I'm not sure all of it's true, and I would be afraid to tell you, quite frankly. Um, Nick Pope, I just wrote his name down. I know his name. He's an Englishman, and in the British government, a good guy, a very good guy that was on last night on Coast to Coast. I get it here from 1 till 3, the first segment. Everybody should listen to that, and they still wouldn't get the gist at why they're releasing it now. I'm going to quit there for today, and I'm having a really rough time. I'm serious. I'm not telling it all because it wouldn't do any good of what, and so I'm going to let it go at the moment. Not let it go. I'm just not going to, So somebody's going to come on. I'm not talking about the people who have been friends on here and say, well, you're babbling. Am I babbling? Or you just don't get the gist or care?